Most evil woman in human history. Real quick, before I start this, let me give a quick shout out to my 3rd grade English teacher. She was a bro. And my 9th grade one too. It might have been 4th grade, honestly. It might have not been 3rd grade. I don't remember. Alright. So, I hope they're on this list, but I wanted to make sure to give a real shout out. Pre-Queen Elizabeth. Y'all, Queen Elizabeth wasn't a bad person. What's the worst thing Queen Elizabeth has done? Hold up. What's going on here? Bro, what the f did I just look at? Film shows Edward. Oh no, that's not her. Oh no. Oh, she was being taught the salute. You know what, bro? Let's just get to the video.
The most evil women in history. It's a pretty well-known fact if you look at my channel that you guys like morbid content. Whether it be killers, torture methods, or mythical creatures, you guys like weird and scary. But unfortunately, with most of these topics, one thing I haven't really covered is women. And I'm all about inclusivity and equal representation. So in this video, I wanted to switch it up a bit and focus on the women of evil. Dangerous, evil women that kill people and more. And if you thought women were scary before this video, they're going to be terrifying after. Let's begin. First up on our list is Beverly Allitt, one of Britain's most hated serial killers. She worked as a nurse in the children's ward in the UK and ultimately intentionally injured 13 of her patients and...
Bro, y'all know what's crazy too? I'm not even surprised by this because there's dead-ass nurses that like actually hate kids. Like, y'all know there are stories of nurses that have like switched the babies or whatever after, and how would you know? Could you imagine raising a child until they're like 18 and then you find on their 18th birthday? It wasn't even yours. Quoted by the one and only Kanye West, bro. Like, that's actually the craziest shit. Now, you gotta get, like, a lifetime sentence, bro. You gotta get, for the amount of years that the parent goes without knowing, you gotta get some sort of sentence.
Murdered 4 of them in the process. The 9 that did survive weren't much better for wear and were seriously injured. Beverly would administer lethal insulin injections and also inserted air bubbles into the bloods of her victim. One of the saddest parts about this story is that all of these crimes were committed in only a 2-month period, and all of her victims were infants, one of which was only 2 months old. No. One of the scariest parts about this story is that Beverly...
That's why a lot of parents also, I've heard, like, a lot of parents will keep their kid. They're like, oh, you have to keep the kid in the room. I want to see what you're doing to the kid. Like, whether you're giving it some sort of vaccine or, I don't know, whatever they give newborns. But, like, that's just actually scary. Low-key, bro, when I got a kid, I might have to do that. Because, like, you really can't trust people, y'all. Especially with our generation and how up mentally people is. I'm trusting y'all even less, bro. To be honest, trusting y'all even less. I would definitely catch a murder charge or some shit. I raised somebody else's child for 18 years.
She had no clear motives, and due to her mental health concerns, she wasn't held in prison. She's currently in a secure hospital. It is so extremely unfortunate that in such a short amount of time, this woman was able to...
Crazy thing is, bro, mental health. Oh my god, it's the mental health. How many women out there have the same mental health effects as her? And don't do this. Huh? Can't use this mental health shit. Alright, she had intention with this shit.
Inflict so much damage upon so many young, vulnerable people.
They be trying to use this excuse on school shooters.
I suppose the silver lining is that she was relatively quickly found out after only 59 days or just under 2 months, but even one child harmed is too many in my books. Let's move on. Next up, we have Leonarda Cenciulli, a dangerous female killer.
Even with this drawing, like, this is just a simple drawing. She looked freaky.
From Italy. This story is a trip, so just try to follow along. To put it frankly, this woman was a nut job. She had a very rough upbringing and was extremely superstitious. Her family mistreated her, and that led her to rebel and marry a man that her family didn't approve of. She was then banished from her family, and she believed that her family had put a curse on her that would only allow her to have negative experiences. And she believed in this curse heavily. You'll see what I mean. She dearly wanted to be a mother, but unfortunately, out of the 17 pregnancies that she had, only 4 of her children survived.
Bro, that's a crazy KD ratio. How bad does your output have to be for that to happen? You feel me? The vaginal walls, or I don't know how a baby is made to be. Okay, I know how a baby's made, but like I don't know the full process of it. How is it that bad that you having that many goddamn miscarriages, bro? That's insane. Damn, she might actually have a curse. Actually, hold up. She might actually have a curse, because that is insane, really thinking about it. Like, a lot of women will, like, if they're going for a baby, they might have one in their life, maybe, But like, damn.
Survive. One of which was her son, who she loved dearly and would do anything to protect. She saw a palm reader, and the palm reader told her that all of her children would die before her, and she didn't want to believe it. Not too much longer later, in 1939, the World War II draft happened, and her son was of age to be drafted. So what did she do? Well, she thought she could have a human sacrifice to protect her son. What she did was she targeted vulnerable middle-aged women that were unhappy and unmarried and promised them a life of good fortune and much more. The first victim she invited over, she told to write all of her friends and family's postcards saying that she is so happy in life right now, and also told her to not tell anybody what she was doing. This victim came to Leonardo's house, drank wine that was poisoned, passed out, and Leonardo killed her and cut up her body and turned her body into soap and tea cakes, which she served to her friends and even her son.
What? This is like some cartel activities you see on like Live Leak or something. Could you imagine, like, damn, I wonder how it actually tasted. Hold up. How do y'all think human body cookies would taste like? I really wonder how. And she did this like before, when like they didn't really have the same cooking tools we have today. So like, how much did she like bake it down? Must have been crazy. Why are you thinking that? I'm thinking of the real stuff. I'm thinking of the real questions people don't think about, you know?
Son, but unfortunately, it doesn't stop there. This one sacrifice that she did to protect her son in the war wasn't quite enough for her, so she ended up doing the same thing again 3 more times. But she was eventually caught as her last victim's sister was growing concerned of where she could be, and fortunately, she heard that her sister, the victim, was last seen going into Leonardo's house. That prompted an investigation where both Leonardo and her son, Giuseppe, were taken into custody, where she promptly admitted to everything and pled guilty to all of the charges. This case is so strange and morbid, and I honestly...
Imagine you're the son there too. It's like, you get drafted from a war, one of the worst wars ever, and then you come back and then you hear that your mom's cooking up the neighbors, bro, and the cookies and shit, and washing, making soap out of it. Hope he recovered.
He can't understand how one can be so superstitious. But there has to be more going on here, because nobody who's just superstitious ends up eating people. Disgusting and crazy, honestly. I know I put a lot of time into this story specifically, but I thought that this context was kind of required, and I thought that this story was just too crazy not to give more detail on. There's no doubt this woman is evil and dangerous. Let's keep moving. This next entry brings us all the way back to the 1500s in Hungary with Elizabeth Bathory. Before I get into the details, I'm going to say this. There are 2 popular beliefs about the story of Elizabeth Bathory. One is that this entire story was made up and fabricated to discredit her and her family, and the entire situation was just a witch hunt to put her away for good. And the second belief, which I think that I'm a part of after doing some research on the topic, is that everything I'm about to discuss is historical fact and true, and this lady was an absolute maniac. Elizabeth was given the nickname Blood Countess, and even Countess Dracula, as she had very odd vampiric tendencies. Elizabeth was obsessed with...
Can't be no different from, I forgot the dude, or the girl, MGK is dating. Megan Fox. Megan Fox, bro. Megan Fox be drinking blood and shit. I'm not gonna lie, Megan Fox can drink my blood, though. Respectfully. Cardi. Y'all hear blood, y'all hear vampire, and immediately say Cardi. Yo, I feel like for future generations, literally, like, you can't even say vampire without somebody immediately saying Cardi right after. Come on, y'all. Come on.
Her looks in preserving her youth, and unfortunately, she thought that the best way to do so was by bathing in the blood of her virgin servants, and that's exactly what she did. She began torturing, beating, and murdering them, and then draining the blood from their bodies and doing what she wished with it. Allegedly, her husband even built her a torture chamber in their castle.
Her husband was in on it? Nah, bro. These are 2 people's freaks that actually matched each other. You rarely see that nowadays.
Where she could inflict horrific acts on the servant girls. Of course, she only had so many servants and consistently needed to recruit new servants to become a victim of hers, which she would prey upon the daughters of younger class families who felt blessed to have the opportunity to interact with higher classes. Unfortunately, their daughters never returned home. After targeting the daughters of noblemen, formal complaints were submitted and Bathory was investigated, and her crimes were uncovered. She was convicted of 80 counts of murder, and in 1611 was confined to a room in a castle with only slits for food and air, and she died 3 years later.
80 murders in the 15 and 1600s is crazy. Y'all gotta realize that, bro. The fact that they convicted her of 80, like, it was most likely proven, because they didn't convict you of some shit back. Okay, that's cap, but like, most of the time, bro, it was like hard to track things like that compared to nowadays. I wonder how many people they didn't even track that she got. I'm surprised they didn't, like, I don't know, like, hang her or like guillotine her, because that's what they used to do all the time. Like, you even stole, bro. They used to just like cut off your hands.
Now, I'll let you guys make up your mind about whether
shit.
or not this woman was dangerous and evil or not, but the fact that there is so much evidence, 52 collected statements, and the fact that this has stayed through history for almost 600 years, to me definitely says that she's not innocent and likely not a great person either, at the very least. But let's keep going. Now, bringing it back to the modern day in the United Kingdom, we have Joanne Dennehy, another one of the UK's most notorious female serial killers. She's also known as the Peterborough ditch murderer because she would throw bodies in ditches in Peterborough, where she lived. Kind of self-explanatory, but to put it bluntly, Joanna is a narcissistic psychopath who had a very unfortunate draw to men and extremely evil intentions. And by draw to men, I don't mean that she was interested in men, I mean that men could not resist her. She had some sort of magnetic personality that people were just attracted to. And this, unfortunately, isn't super uncommon for a narcissist.
How does she look like? I kind of gotta see this. Nah, bro, these dudes are sick, bro. These dudes is actually sick. Because what the f am I looking at? She looks like she got 5 cases of Monster Energy in her room. She got like 20 goth posters up, alright? She got, I don't know what else, bro. She looks like an alternative version of Jesse from Breaking Bad. Y'all are tripping! The hell is this? Damn, Pass, she got no aura. Yeah, these dudes, you know what, bro? They can enjoy what they want. Oh, this photo is even worse, bro. Is much worse. What is on her stomach, bro? Is that tattoos or scars? I don't even want to know. Don't disrespect Jesse like that. You're right, my bad, Breaking Bad community.
And sociopaths when you first meet them. Just for a bit of context of how
like
evil this woman truly is she's by professionals and experts considered one of the most dangerous, if not the most dangerous woman to be in the criminal system in the United Kingdom right now as we speak. In March of 2013, Joanne and her accomplice Gary Richard had the grand idea of mimicking Bonnie and Clyde by murdering 9 men. And unfortunately, over the course of 10 days, they murdered 3 men and severely injured 2 others by stabbing them. She was eventually caught when the poorly hidden bodies were found. And if you want to really know how truly messed up this person was, when the first body was found, he was naked from the waist down and his top half was covered in a sequin dress. She specifically dressed up the body like this to humiliate him as his body was found, if killing him wasn't bad enough. Investigators immediately knew that they were dealing with a deeply disturbed individual, and after they caught her, they knew that they were exactly right. The first victim that they found was actually her landlord, and the next 2 victims were random dog walkers that they found on the road.
Honestly, I know a lot of people that probably like try to put at least a hit out or something on their landlord just because they hate them. Or like, I don't know, their banker or something like that. I wouldn't even be surprised, to be honest.
A lot more deep and disturbing details to get into about this specific situation, and they're honestly more than the scope of this video without making it 10 hours long, but I think I covered most of the important details to convey the information that this woman is evil, dangerous, and straight up menacing. But we're not done yet. Let's keep going. This next dangerous woman was described by the judge of the case as evil himself. So if there's any entry fitting for the list, it's this one. This entry also has an interview available on YouTube, which I watched for this video, and it is very disturbing, and you can see exactly how strange and genuinely crazy this person is. The way that they were able to justify their crimes to themselves and just lie is absolutely astonishing. And well,
that's not even astonishing. I'm not surprised, bro. You could just tell like a look. You could just tell by a look sometimes, you know. And yeah, we could tell by the look.
Just say it's strange, and if you're interested in watching it, you can look it up. The last thing I'll say before I reveal her identity is this. This case is very odd because if you watched our last video, you'll notice a common theme of serial killers focusing on sex workers. But in this case, it is the complete opposite. This dangerous woman was a sex worker who killed her clients and made them her victim. What? If you don't yet know who I'm talking about, I'm speaking on Aileen Wuornos, also known as the Damsel of Death.
Now I kind of got to see what she looks like. Now I definitely actually got to see what she looks like. Well, I mean, people like, yeah, you know, like, oh my gosh, I think I found a better picture. Oh. Let's keep going.
Death. Like essentially every serial killer, Aileen had a very troubled upbringing, and this no doubt led to the life that she led. She worked as a sex worker in the 1980s along highways in Florida, and between 1989 and 1990,
bro, I bet they didn't care about that shit. They're probably like, hey, you know what? Gotta get my nut off or something like that. There's no internet access. Nowadays, they probably, I don't know how they do it, but they probably just do it off internet access, or they have certain meeting points, or you see what the girl looks like. They're like, hey, you know what? Gotta do my thing. Is what it is. Don't care what she looked like, bro. Don't matter.
9. She killed a total of 6 men
High
in only a
off the
12-month
booger
period. She would drug men, shoot men, rob men, take their cars, and drive their cars back to her home. She was ruthless, yet in court claimed self-defense. And although her sanity was questioned and very much questionable, she was not granted an insanity plea and was actually sentenced to death, where she did die in 2002 via lethal injection. There's a lot more entries that I could have put on this list, and there's a lot more I wanted to put on this list, but I just couldn't put it in the amount of time. We're a bit behind at the Trust Me Bro studio, so I made this video a bit shorter so we could get it out on time. So
thank you, sir. Okay. Yeah, so in conclusion, women out there, you know, don't be like these women, bro. These women are gross, bro, you know? And yeah, if you're watching on the tube, join the Discord.